So here we are, new Lua script, and we're going to start two minus signs. That means that what's following is a comment, not a command. So let's call this class 700 and engine Lua script. There we go. Okay, we might want to expand on that and explain what the script is doing. But I'm going to leave it there. Okay, you'll notice any comments are all in green. And now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a function. So a function is like a subroutine or routine that the script calls upon to do certain things. Okay, now this is going to be initialized, and that means it's going to initialize any numeric values or strings to start off with, as as soon as the game starts, as soon as the script runs. So this one, we in Lua we say function. There we go, function, and the function is initialize. There we go. And normally with functions you might pass strings, values, and that between them. So what you do is you have parentheses like that. Now you can either leave a white space or have the parentheses right up against the word. It will ignore the white space. I don't know whether it ignored half a dozen white spaces, but certainly one. So to make it more readable, you can put a white space in to keep it tidy looking. Okay, so right, we're not gonna be passing any or resetting any values in this. So I'm just going to put end. Okay, that says that function has come to an end. Okay, later on we might put some in there. Now what we're going to do here, we're going to call control values. We're going to manipulate the control values and write them back into our controls within our blueprints. Now most of these, or in fact probably all of these, are in the developer's guide, and if you want to find out the speed of the engine or you want to find out the vehicle number, you make a call within a function to do that. Now the only thing is, this first one that I'm going to do is doesn't appear anywhere. The only reason I know you need to do it is because I've seen other Lua files that have it in. But it doesn't appear in the developer's guide, and what that is this function. So I'm going to call a function, and this function is this: on control value change. Okay, so on control value change, so it says what it's going to do. When that value is changing, it will react to it. On control value change, okay, parentheses or brackets. Now what do we want? We want the name of the control. Okay, so we put name in there. We want the index of the control. Now index, if you've got a control that's got more than one entry, so you might have say brakes, and you might have 4 brakes all doing different things in your blueprint. So you index them starting at 0, 1, 2, 3, and that is the index. So normally if you've only got one control, it's just 0. Okay, now what you want there as well is value. Okay, that's what you're going to want to move about and check and test and write. Right, okay, so the function is on control value name index value, on control value change. Let me get it right. Okay, so then what we're going to do after that is this: we're going to do we're going to interrogate it basically by going, if it's this, do this. If it's not, do something else. but we're only going to do if it's this. So we go if then, and what we're looking to see if this control exists. So we make a call. We always make a call, and we're going to call the following expression function, and this is what it's going to be. Now we need speech marks, then we put a star and a colon. That means all instances of it in that sense. So what we're going to call? We're going to call if the control exists. Control. Control. Let me see. Control exists. Okay, so we're testing if the control exists. Then we want to test which we need to say which control we're testing for, and we want one with the name and the index. Okay, so we want to check if a control exists. Now what we want to say then is then do something. So we go then, okay, and what we're going to do, what we want to do is this. We're going to set a value. So again we go call, and here once again it's the speech marks, the star and the colon, and the syntax here is this. It's set control value. Okay, set control value. Now if we're setting the control value, we need to tell it which control we want to set. So we need a name, we need an index. Okay, now remember index is 0 if there's only one of them, and we want a value because we're setting a value, so we want the value. So there we go. That is what that call is doing. That's going to set that up. Okay, now we've got two things here. We've got a function and we've got an if then sort of loop. We need to end those, so you need to put end statements in. So we've got want an end statement for the function and an end statement for that if then call. Okay, so I'm going to come down here, leave a bit of a gap, and I'm just going to put end. That will end the if then call, and then I'll put end. That will end the function. Oh, I've put two of them together. I didn't press new line. There we go. So they now are both closed. If they're not closed, you will get an error. Okay, so that is our value change function. And so now what we're going to do when we use our destination boards, do the lights and all things like that, is put it within this function. Okay, as I say, there's no reference to this, not even because this is specifically written for Train Simulator, because Lua scripting is obviously used in a lot of applications. It will be used in other simulators and all that, and these calls and functions will be specific to Train Simulator, so they'll be checking on things that occur in Train Simulator that might not occur in other simulators or other games and that. And that's why we can't really find this out. If it's not in the developer's guide, unless someone knows, then there's no way of finding that out, because it's not a general Lua function. So we want to change the destination boards. Now what I'm going to do, I need to change all 25. I want to blank them out before I put the new one up. Okay, so everything goes dark and then the new one comes up. So I'm not going to do that 25 times. I'm not going to call it and switch it off 25 times. I'm going to put a for next loop in. So that's going to count up and do a task for so many times. Okay, so for that we go for, no, I tell you what, let's put comments in here. Okay, so in here, let's underscore, and we'll call this dest clear start. Okay, hopefully we'll know what that means. I suppose I could put bold in there. There we go. Dest bold clear start. Okay, now we want the for next loop, so we go for. Now in basic, which is what I sort of learnt years ago, you would go for x equals 1 to whatever number you want to, and then you go next, and that's how this run. With Lua you don't do it that way. What we do is we go for x, okay, equals and we go 1 from 1 to 25, which is the amount we've got. And now you'd have a third figure in there, and that would be how many steps. So it might be x might move up 5 each time or something like that. If you leave it out, it assumes it to be 1, so it counts up 1 1 1 like that. So we'll leave that out because we don't need it. So for x equals 1 to 25, do something. We want it to do something, and what we want to do is turn the board off. So that is a call again. So we call, and the call we're making is this one, speech marks, and it's activate node. Okay, so that will switch on or off part of the mesh. Okay, so activate node, speech marks again. Now we need to tell it what node it's activating, and it wants to be dest underscore. They would dest underscore 1 2 3 4 5 to 25. So dest underscore, and let's put in speech marks again. And now, oh, I haven't put them in at the beginning there. There we go. And now what we want as well is we want to put a number in there. Then that number we're going to get from here, from the x value. Okay, so it will be 1, then it will be 2, then it will be 3, and so we'll switch them all off. So to do that, often like in basic you would put plus, but here you do 2 full stops or periods depending what side of the Atlantic you're on, and then you put what you want to add on to it. So we want to add x onto it, and I'll put up what that's called here because I can never remember. It's something like concatenate. I can never remember the word, but it just means to add one thing onto the other. I will learn it one day. I've only tried to say it for about sort of 40 years, but there we go. Okay, so comma in there. Now what do we want? Well, we've got 2 values, 0 or 1. 0 switches it off, 1 switches it on, so we want 0. Okay, so that will now switch the destination board off, and of course it will go on infinitely if we don't tell it to stop. So we want to put end. Actually it should stop after 25, but it still might throw an error out because the for next loop hasn't got an exit point, so we put end. Okay, and let's finish the comment. So it's let me just copy that one. It'd be quicker, won't it, than typing it. Oh, and then it went over the end one there. And that's end. Okay, so that's one part. Now next part again is the switch on. So switch on this board, and we'll call it start. Okay, so this is going to switch on the destination board that we want. Now what we need here then is we need to call the control value, okay, and we want to take that number and put it into a variable, and then we'll use that variable to switch that node on, so it will reflect the node that has been selected. So as you press the F8 button, that will increase that number, and so that number we will take and use to switch the node on. So we'll create the variable, we'll call it where are we, db num. Okay, that's the variable db num, and equals, and we'll make this call, so it's call, and the call we want to make is to the control. So we'll do our usual star and colon there, and we want to get the control value. Okay, so it's the sort of same as the set, so we usually get the control value and set the control value. So it's get control value, okay, speech marks, comma, what control is it? Well, it's that one, destination board. Okay, make sure you spelt it right, make sure I've spelt it right. Okay, yeah, we want let's put brackets in here. I'm not sure whether this will work with brackets, because not brackets, speech marks. Speech marks normally are when you're working with strings and rather than numeric values and all that. But it works with that. I'm not sure if you strip that off. These work without string without speech marks. I'm not sure these will. I've never tried it. And we want to get the control value, and we want the name and the index. So the index we said is 0 if we've only got 1. Okay, so that's it. So we've now got that value in that variable. So we're going to make another call, and we're going to need to activate that node. So call, okay, activate node, and yeah, speech marks, comma, and it's going to be speech marks dest underscore speech marks period or full stop, and it's db num. That's where the number is. It's in that variable. So db num. Yeah, so that will go dest underscore and whatever number is returned from that previous call to get the value. Okay, so there we go, and we want to turn it on, so it wants to be 1. Okay, and that's that. Now this doesn't need an end because it's not a loop. Okay, it's just a single statement. So copy that. Okay, paste, and call it stop. Suppose I was called put that stop. Oh, hang on, stop. Let's keep it the same. I'll make that capital. Okay, so there it is. That's our Lua script for the destination board to change it. Okay, we need to, before we commit this, we need to go and check our spelling, check our syntax, make sure we're using the correct syntax for this particular task. Okay, on control value change, yes. Name index value, yeah. If call, yes. Speech mark star colon. Control exists. Remember that S exists. So it's an S on the end. I've done it before where I've left the S off and it won't work because it's not laid out in the developer's guide, so it doesn't recognise that syntax. Name and index, then, so if that is met, call set control value. Yep, that's fine. Then we've got this loop for x equals 1 to 25. Do call activate node destination underscore dot dot x. Yeah, switch it off. That's fine. That looks fine. Get control value, comma destination board 0. Yep, that looks fine. And finally, call activate node destination underscore and the DB number, which has the destination board value and 1. So it will switch it on. And then we've got the end for the previous calls. So that looks as if it will work. So what we do is we save that. Now we go into the blueprint editor, okay, and it will throw us an error if any of that is not right. Okay, so let's go into the blueprint editor. So here we are in the blueprint editor. Just make sure our destination board is set. Okay, we checked this before. Yes, 1 to 25, that's fine. And notch lever 25 notches, yeah, that's fine. Make sure our Lua file is correct there. Yeah, it's pointing to the right Lua file. Now here's the moment of truth. We press export and let's see, it's gone through. There's nothing there saying error, so that means that the Lua script is correct. It's not saying it's spelt right, but it's correct. There's no problem with the Lua file. We'll only know whether the calls have got the right names when we go into Train Simulator. So let's do that now. So here we are. We're in Train Sim. Moment of truth. Let's have a look. Let's go outside. And there we go, things are looking good. We've got our number. There's our vehicle number that's been randomly selected from our list. And it's looking good here. We've got our not in service. We've got the first board. So let's press F8. Yep, and press F8. And there we go. We have a changing destination board. Let's check whether we can go back. So shift and F8. Yep, we're going back now, and that's it. So that is fine. That's working well. If we want to add that down the sides in the actual carriages, much the same as we've done there, we can do exactly the same thing. So that's it. The destination boards are now working.